Welcome everyone. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. How's everybody this evening? Hi, thanks so very much for joining. How are you? How are you? Welcome. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. All right. And we are live and ready. We are live and ready. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. Yes. Hey, girl, thanks for joining. Thanks so very much for joining. I am very happy to see you. Thank you. So come on in. Go ahead and put a comment in the comments to let me know that you are here and you are with us today on Talks with Tanya. Yes, I know. And here we are on September. Can you believe this? September the 6th is upon us. The fall is upon us, and we've gotten this far successfully. Good evening. Thanks so very much for joining. I appreciate you. Welcome everyone. Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Talks with Tanya. My name is Tanya Bain, and tonight's broadcast is sponsored by yours truly, Tanya Inspires. And what we do at Tanya Inspires is we are all about educating, informing, impacting, and connecting by sharing information that will help build bridges to heal lives and lead to whole life success. And I say this every week because it really is at the core of what Tanya Inspires is about, and the guests that I bring on Talks with Tanya. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining. It's so important, I believe, that we use every tool and piece of wisdom that we've acquired on this journey for ourselves, and all of the lessons that we've learned, over the years, the books we've read, the people that we've met, the interactions, that we have been blessed by. And we use all of that information to really make a difference today. So often we spend a lot of time looking for role models and, mentors or gurus, or someone with, who has the magic answer. How is it that we proceed? We look to our leaders for that type of direction, and there's really nothing wrong with that. In fact, sometimes finding the right person at the right time can really help. However, in the midst of to lose how important it is for us to realize that in the absence of that one particular person or that one particular figure, that the truth be told, we can very safely rely on ourselves. We carry everything that we need within us. And I believe that everything we need is within us. We find ourselves sometimes not knowing where to turn, and again, looking to other people. But if you believe that you are the change that then you can begin that shift, that difference, those connections right now with yourself, within yourself. using everything that you've been given in order to make that difference. And each and every one of us has that capability. So I'm really excited about today's guest. I'm excited about all my guests. And I'm ever so grateful for the connections that have been made over time and the people that I can reach back to and ask to come on and just share a word or share their perspective about what's in their lane or how they feel about what's going on in the world today. Two things that I have to mention before we get started is complete the census. All right. If you want to be counted, you want to make a difference, you want to help your community, it's very simple. Complete the census. And number two, is the number one thing, vote. Vote whatever your conscience is, but vote. I can't express that strongly enough. In the environment that we're in, if you don't feel comfortable going out to the polls, then you can vote by mail. And in spite of all of the rhetoric and all of the distractions that might be thrown out there about what move and cast your vote, because that's how you can make a difference. So my guest today, I am really excited to bring him on, is because he's someone that has stepped out and found his path, reached back into his community and is making a difference. So let me bring on my guest today. Hi, Ron. Welcome.
Hi. How are you, Tanya? Thank you for having
I'm just so excited. I really
me.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And for those of you who didn't read the information on Facebook, let me just tell you a little bit about, just a slither about our guest today. Well, first, I like to start out this way. I like to give the personal story, okay, of how I met my guest. And it was through a referral, a community referral, in another program that I am associated with that is really helping young people in the state of Delaware, and had the opportunity to connect with Mr. Ron Moore next to me. And he is not only in terms of what he's done, but in terms of how we represent. When he shared his story and what he was wanting to do, my heart was touched. My heart was touched by his sincerity, by his follow through, and I just I needed to do everything that I could in order to connect him with our community so that he could make a difference. But this amazing we go. Connections, we're back.
Technology.
We just keep on, we just keep on moving. We just keep
Right.
on moving. Ron, that's just how much power we have. We just took down the network.
Right. That's how we'll look at it. Absolutely.
That's how we'll look at it, right? It's all about your point of view. But Ron is a fellow New Yorker, Okay. Ron was born and raised in Brooklyn, and that's okay, even though I'm from the Bronx. Brooklyn, right?
Right. We
Brooklyn,
won't
New
hold that
York.
against each other. We won't hold that against each other.
Right, exactly. We ain't got nothing but love.
Right.
We love New York, and so many special people come from there. Right. But you know what? He received his education in the New York City public school system. All right. And that in and of itself is an accomplishment. I'm going to let him tell his story because I don't want to, take away from his story, but just some of the highlights. Okay. He was raised in a single family home, single parent home by his mom. He was, had to contend with the realities of growing up with the influences in the streets and really with no male influences in order to help him. And from humble beginnings, okay, he found his way, all right, into a basketball career, which led him to be drafted into the NBA. Yeah, my guests, my selection of guests have really come to the top. Into the New York Knicks, okay, and I'm a New York girl, so the New York Knicks are okay with me. And was later traded to the infamous Bad Boys, the Detroit Pistons. And what he did is he dedicated a few years in the NBA and then continued his career abroad. And it was really his desire to come back into the community where he grew up to make a difference in the lives of our youth. And what he decided to do was to bring a program into the school system, into the communities in New York called Developing Young Minds. What he says is that he wants to change the thinking of our young people so that they move away from thinking that their environment, okay, determines who they are, into understanding and realizing what their real potential really is. And I applaud you for that, Ron, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I love it. So, Ron, tell us a little bit more about yourself, your story, and kind of how you came to be here representing this great organization.
Well, of course, as you said, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, reared in the public school system, being in a single family home that was full of love. It was full of love. I always had that. But the influences of the street began to take its toll a little bit. And I got away from the academic portion of my life and started focusing on the negatives. And God, thank God for a gentleman named Sam Hanger, who was my basketball coach in high school. Was able to send me away. I finished high school in Arkansas my last 2 years, and that changed my life. And I began to focus more on academics, focus on basketball. Had the opportunity to receive a scholarship from West Virginia State University, where I played college basketball at West Virginia State, and earned my degree in education from West Virginia State. Was an All-American player, drafted into the NBA by the New York Knicks in 1987, but later traded, as you said, to the Detroit Pistons. Played a few years in the league, Played overseas for 12 years in various countries: Israel, Greece, France, Switzerland, Argentina, down to South America. And upon when I retired from playing in 2000, I decided that I wanted to you know, have a career and working with young people. So I took an opportunity coaching in New York at Hunter College, and also was working in the public school system. And that's when I really started to see the negatives that our young people was dealing with. And I wanted to give back to these young people because I saw the things that they were dealing with at home, in the streets, all the negatives that was surrounding them. And I wanted them to know that no matter what your circumstance is, what your environment is, you can be successful. We just have to teach you and give you a guide to teach you how to combat those issues so that you can focus on what's more important in life and not focus on the negatives of the street and your environment.
All right. So we're having, just bear with us, audience.
I understand.
We're having some connection issues, but you can always go back and pick it up. So, was there, in terms of making that decision to come back, it just seems so easy, oh, let me just come back and do that. And some people try that. But what you have, what I think is amazing, is the kind of program that you have and the kind of curriculum that you developed in
Mhm.
order to bring the young people along. So tell us a little bit about the components of that and why.
Well, Revitalize RIM Incorporated, which is the acronym for Revitalizing Inner City Males to Men. I realized that there was a strong structure that was needed to help these young brothers, and I created a curriculum called Developing Young Minds, which is many different programs. It has restorative practices, conflict resolution, life skills, college and careers, as well as social emotional learning. And it also has a sports component too, because many of our young brothers desire to be professional athletes. And that's pretty much the hook, because all our young people know is they want to be rappers, they want to be in the entertainment business, they want to be professional athletes. That's all they see because that's what society shows them. So I wanted them to know that there's a lot more to life that they can do beyond sports and entertainment. How about being the producer in entertainment? How about being the agent? Or how about being the developer of these different components in entertainment, or in entertainment law? So there's so much more broad entities that they can get into, rather than just thinking that they could just be rappers, because the rappers don't make the money, so they think. The people that's making the money is the producers and the record companies. Those are the people that are really making the money. So we want to be able to show them those dynamics in the business aspect of it. As far as being a professional athlete, I let young people know all the time, you have a much better chance at being a doctor or a lawyer than you do a professional athlete, because not only are they taking that in basketball in particular, not only are they taking athletes from the United States, but now they're taking athletes from abroad. So they're coming in from
Mhm.
Europe as well. So the numbers are dwindling down a little bit as far as professional athletes are concerned. But I tell young people all the time is to take the game of basketball and utilize that to propel you to an opportunity to gain a higher education, getting into a college scholarship, and then finding out what it is that you can do with the college scholarship. But at the same time, we're teaching them different entities that are out there. I ask young people all the time, would you be a plumber? And they look at me like, oh, no, I would never be a plumber, not realizing that when you can work with your hands and be a plumber, because there's going to always be running water. There's going to always be these buildings that need plumbing, that need to be taken care of. And then I told them a story one time about, a plumber can make upwards of $3,000, $5,000 on one job, if they have their own business. So there is money to be made being a plumber. So, we got to teach our young people, our young brothers, to not be so prideful and not taking certain jobs because they think it's beneath them. We have to teach them how to create, opportunities for themselves through working with their hands. They can learn the skill. Those things are very important, to learn the skill, to learn carpentry, to learn computers, to learn plumbing, to learn these different career opportunities that are out there. Then of course there's always the norm that they always tell black kids, you could be a lawyer or a doctor or anything like that, but they need to understand the dynamics of becoming a lawyer or a doctor. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not far fetched. It's an opportunity for them to critically think about what they want to do for their futures, and that's the reason why I've gotten into doing the work that I do. There we go. That energy, that
All right, if I
energy,
get cut off again, Ron, just take over.
that energy, that energy.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, so what is one of the greatest challenges that you have in helping them shift that mindset?
uh, them believing that they can do it. Many of our young people have been told over and over and over that they couldn't do something. I've been told over and over and over that I couldn't do anything, and this is coming from my own family members in some instances. But the greatest feeling in the world is showing someone that you can do it. But you don't have to prove it to them. You just need to prove it to yourself by focusing on what it is that you want to do in your life and giving yourself a chance and believing in your abilities that you have, that you can be successful. But our young people are dealing with the negatives of everything around them, and all they see is negative. So all they think is negative. So, it is incumbent upon us as as adults, as educators, is showing them that they can be successful. But we just have to give them an avenue to follow.
Hmm. Hmm. So besides the young people, okay, um, what are the challenges that you might have in convincing the folks in leadership, okay, and leadership positions about how important a program like yours is?
Well, it's being able to get at the table. Give me a seat at the table and let me talk to you about how my life has been through the things that I've gone through growing up, and I still was able to make it out. And I was able to make it out because of someone else who cared enough about me to help me get out. These young people don't think nobody care about them. When you're dealing with all the things that you're dealing with at home, you never know if it's incarcerated parents, drug infected parents, or, your brother's incarcerated, or whatever it is. Your grandmother may be raising you, and she's a little up in age, so she really doesn't have the energy to lead you in the right direction. So there are mentors out here that need to be introduced to these young people to give them those opportunities, and to have a program like R.I.M. Incorporated could be beneficial to these young people. But the powers have to be they have to care a little bit more about the future of these young people. They have to give a little bit more of their resources to help programs like mine reach these young kids so that we can do the job that we're able to do to help them along.
Hmm. Hmm. Because and on Talks with Tanya, we talk about it. Okay. You and I have interacted on multiple occasions and talked about some of the challenges in getting the people who are in decision making positions,
Hmm.
all right, to allow programs like yours to really get to our young people.
Right.
Um, what what can you say to those folks who might just be a little bit reluctant, or I'll just call, I'll be nice and call it ignorance, about how important it is?
For them to just don't talk about it. We got to walk the walk, not talk the talk. We already know that these young people are our future, and if we don't prepare them for the future ahead, who knows? My grandchildren may not have the leadership that he or she may need to be successful. So it's up to us to give programs like R.I.M. Incorporated an opportunity to grab hold of a few of these young people and help lead them in the direction they need to go towards their success. Um, Our young people are stronger. Our young people are more knowledgeable than we give them credit for. We think because of their circumstance or their situation that they won't be able to get away from that. But have you given them the time that it takes and they need and the resources that they need to help them get where they want to go? Mental health right now is a major problem in our young people, and we have to be able to give them what they need and the resources that they need in order to have them an opportunity, or think they believe that they have a chance to do something in their life. They don't even think they have a chance. They don't think no one cares. They really don't. They think nobody cares about me because of my situation, because of my status, who I am, where I live, what my zip code is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't think that they have an opportunity to get out of that, and we have to be able to show them more attention. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
hear a lot of people a lot of times saying, well, what about the ones that are doing it? Well, they're doing it because they have probably the resources or given the attention to do it. So does that mean we just push everybody else away, push all the at-risk youth, we just push them to the side because they don't matter? No, we have to give them the same opportunity for those that have the chance to. They might be able to follow those young people because those young people are making things happen for themselves. So maybe those at-risk youth could say, you know what? Well, if he could do it, I might be able to do it. So we got to give them the resources that they need to make better decisions.
Absolutely. Um, and it's something that I believe each and every one of us is accountable for. Because if we're not pushing um, or, peeling back and showing and speaking out loud about how it is that our needs, our community needs, the needs of our children are not being
Right.
addressed, it will continue to happen.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
it's it takes a village.
And where
It takes a
where has
village.
that gone? When I was growing up, I mean, I remember, if I did something wrong, the neighbor was going upside my head before it even got to my mom, before she go upside my head. So, where's that? It's unfortunate that you know, you know, young parents today are saying, "Don't talk to my child, don't discipline my child like that." I'll take care of that. It's not that we're trying to discipline. We're just trying to give your child a message to help them make better decisions. But they don't want you talking to their children in these days. You know, they prefer you not to speak to their
Mhm.
children, and we've gotten away from that. It takes a village mentality.
Yes, absolutely. I think that that's intentional and deliberate. And we need to wake up.
Right,
Okay, we
right.
need to wake up
Well, I think
and,
that comes from
make a
soc-
difference.
that comes from society. I believe society has taught our young people that you don't have to deal with certain situations. Just they're telling them these negative messages. Society is doing that to our young people, and but I won't stop. You know, it's my responsibility to help a young brother become successful in his life. It's my responsibility. I don't have to grab him up, but I got to give him a message to let him know, hey, you can do this, brother. But come on, there's a way to do it, and I'm going to
Mhm.
show him the way to do it so that he can make better decisions.
Right. So, the other area that I love about your program is that you with conflict resolution.
Right.
Okay. Conflict resolution. So tell me why you thought that was important to include in your curriculum.
Well, conflict resolution, I believe, is we need to learn how to deal with certain issues, certain situations using our words rather than violently. I think when you have the opportunity to understand how to deal with certain conflicts, because it's always that he said, she said thing that gets fights started. It's always, personal property or whatever it is. So I thought conflict resolution was very important because we get to learn how to sit down and speak about the different things that we need that are we in conflict with. How can we come to a medium and an understanding and respect for one another without being violent to one another.
That is so important. When you think about what young people are exposed to now, okay, the kind of movies they see, what's on social media, what the media in general portrays all the time, our options look very limited.
Yes.
Like the only way to resolve is by,
By
fighting.
violence, right? Violence, and that's what we're taught. I don't even want to get into that too deeply. I think we all know where that comes from because that's not our nature. Where we're not violent people as they tell us we are. But when you keep telling people a message that this is who we are, this is how we are, this is the way we deal with things, what are people going to think? If somebody keeps constantly telling you you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, what are you going to think about yourself? So when you're being told that you as a people, you're a violent person, you're violent in nature, that's not who we are. That's not our ancestors. That's not us as black people. That's just not who we are.
Yes. Yes. It is systemic. It
Absolutely.
is deliberate. It is institutionalized.
Absolutely.
And even as an adult, okay, I am galled, okay, by the expectation that I should be silent about issues that are clearly um, institutionalized issues of racism. And I see that, and I'm an adult, okay, and I'm being told,
Right.
okay, that I cannot express myself, okay,
Right.
and I know better,
Right.
okay.
Right.
What
Right.
what is happening to our children?
Well, when told to be
What
silent,
is happening to our children?
that puts you in a realm of being complicit, and I just don't think that you should keep your mouth shut. I think that you should always speak up for the things that you believe in. I've never been told to be quiet. I've always been taught to speak my mind and speak what's right. When what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and speak up without any recourse for how you feel on your truth. Stand on your truth, and if you stand on your truth, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. There's this quote I tell young people all the time, and what's funny is it's a Dr. Seuss quote, but I stand by it, and it says, "When you stand on your truth, those who mind don't matter; those who matter won't mind." And so I tell young people all the time, when you stand on truth, you standing on solid ground. So always be able to speak your mind and speak your truth because your truth is your truth, and can't anybody take that away from you.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, just to switch the conversation a little bit, when we look at professional sports and professional sports, influencers, what's different? What's different today than what your experience has been?
Uh, I think that, of course, these are totally two different eras. I'm from the 80s, 90s era, and we wasn't speaking out as much as these young people are speaking out now because we didn't have to deal with it on a level that we're dealing with it now.
Hmm.
So I'm sure that there are some things that we spoke strongly about or felt strongly about that we wanted to speak out on, but we kind of took a step back and just was happy to be in that situation.
Yes.
These young brothers today are speaking out because black folk are tired.
Amen.
We're tired. How long should we be able to um, be okay with them putting their knees on our neck? and killing black people and doing all the things that they've done to black people for so many years. We're supposed to be okay with that. And it's unfortunate that our leadership that we're getting is encouraging that behavior. And that's not upstanding of what a leader is supposed to be.
Hmm.
And it's unfortunate for this country that we're dealing with that. I shouldn't have to worry about, because I'm a black man, when I step out of my house, that I'm worrying about what's going to happen to me if I'm pulled over for a traffic infraction, or because I'm walking in a certain neighborhood that I shouldn't be in that neighborhood because of the color of my skin. That's asinine to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about time that we speak up and stand strong on our truth, because this is who we are. We're not going anywhere. We're here. Accept it and stop being living in fear of us, because we don't want anything more than what you get. And that's for and my personal opinion, I will say, Tanya, I think segregation ruined the black community because we wanted to be accepted by white society. Okay,
Yes.
we are who we are, and we do things the way we do things. And if we have a different ideology about who we are and what we want to do, then let us have that. Don't take that away from us. So I speak with passion because I love my people, and there was nothing I would do, and I would never stop making sure that I could do whatever I can to help my people strive and be successful. So I applaud those NBA players who are standing strong and doing what they're doing to create an opportunity for us to get ahead in this world.
Absolutely. And it's a risk that they've taken. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's a
Colin Kaepernick
risk.
is a great example of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And look, in a matter of what, 24 months, okay, how the narrative has
Hmm.
shifted.
Right,
Okay.
right.
How the narrative has shifted from taking a knee, okay, either take a
Hmm.
knee on the field or
Or take a knee on your neck.
the neck.
Absolutely.
Okay, that is extremely symbolic to me. Okay, it's
Absolutely.
so it's not
Absolutely.
okay for us to take a knee, but it's
Right.
okay for you,
Right.
okay,
Right.
to do that. And it's come full circle. I agree with you. I applaud. You know, our particularly our men and our brothers. For stepping up and speaking out. And I believe, and that was what was one of the things that was important to me in terms of bringing the male perspective,
Right.
okay, on Talks with Tanya. The
Right.
whole narrative, has shifted because it is time.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it is time. You know, it's time for people to understand, and if you would help us understand the value that your program brings. Tell us about that.
I believe that the value my program brings it gives young people an opportunity to see who they are. It brings self-awareness. It brings cultural awareness. It brings help build character and integrity and having an understanding of who you are as an individual. And it gives you the opportunity to realize your true potential, and it'll put you in a position to say that I can be successful. I know that I can do this if given the opportunity. Um, I don't have a problem with anybody who needs assistance in any area of life, whether it's literacy, math, helping them in terms of getting, so they can have food on the table,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. We need to do whatever's necessary to make sure that we're helping our young brothers become successful. Now, when I say young brothers, please, everybody, I don't want you to think that I'm counting out my young sisters. But, we got it. Our young sisters, there are a lot of programs for our sisters. But
Yes.
we want our sisters to also understand that men need to be leaders in the household. Men need to be leaders in the home. Men need to be leaders in the community. Men need to be leaders in our culture. And if we can teach our young brothers how to be men and be strong black men and educate themselves and build character, build integrity, and have an understanding of who they are, then they'll lead. And if they are leading, then the sisters can have someone that they can follow without thinking in their mind, I don't need a man to do anything. Because I love a strong black woman. I have no problem with our sisters being strong. But men are the ones that have to lead, and we have to teach our young brothers how to lead.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's been the one of the many distractions, and I believe it's an intentional thing. Uh,
Absolutely.
where we have been pitted, brother against sister, woman against men. All right, it's
Right.
very deliberate in that
Right.
breakdown so that
Mhm.
our children are impacted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, if we walk in our position, okay, my position, I walk in my position, and when I walk in that position, I'm in a position of power. Okay, the same thing, with my brother,
Right. Right.
allowing him to walk in
Right.
that position.
Right. Right. It's nothing like having a strong black man with a strong black woman, and they're able to value one another's opinion and perspectives on life and how they can move together and moving and forward. I don't have to be the leader where it's about what I say goes. It's about how we are able to communicate and work together to strengthen the black family.
Hmm. Absolutely. I believe that in the young people in general watching us as men and women of color, okay, work together, and see that the results of that is very, very powerful,
Absolutely.
within this community.
Absolutely.
With your program, how did you? Because I think it's amazing the areas that you cover. You're talking about developing young minds and life skills. Why life skills?
I think it's important to have life skills to know how to carry yourself. I think that to know how to speak, to know how to articulate, those things are very important. I teach young brothers how to tie a tie. I teach young brothers how to iron and wash their own clothes. I teach young brothers how to be self sufficient and be able to take care of themselves, how to take care of a home. A lot of people always say, well, that's a woman's job. No, it's not. It's a man's responsibility, if he's a single man, to know how to take care of himself. And if he shows that he knows how to take care of himself, how to articulate himself, how to present himself out in public without his pants hanging halfway off his behind, without his clothes being oversized, but fitting properly the way that it's supposed to be, and learning to look a man in the eye, shaking a man's hand with a firm handshake, those things are very important. Those things speak to the character of who you are. So
Yes.
we teach all of those factors in my program to teach young brothers how to man up and be men.
Mm. How to man up and be men. And it's so needed for us to be able to move forward. Absolutely. Um, can you share with us like a story of hope, a change that was made as a result of someone who participated in your program?
I've watched the program that I've had in New York when I was in a couple of schools in New York. I've watched particularly four high school young men that I worked with. And these young brothers was in the gangs. These young brothers was into all the negatives of the streets. And I was able to, grab a hold of them and let them know that there was a better way of life. And those four young men are actually now in college playing basketball. And I've watched them grow. I've watched them grow and develop. I've watched them become better students. I've watched them become better people. I've watched them pull their clothes up on them and not hanging out in the streets anymore like they used to be. They wanted an opportunity again, and I gave them an opportunity through sports. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they need that outlet. Whatever the outlet is that we can give our young people to help them make better decisions, we need to be able to provide those resources for them. So
Mm-hmm.
they became a part of my basketball program, and they was pretty good players, pretty good athletes, and they gotten better, and now they're, the three of them now, I think this year is their senior year in college, and I'm looking forward to them saying, "Coach, I want you to come to my graduation." And I will be right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you came to us from, well, really from the world, and now you are here in Delaware. Tell me a
Right.
little bit about what's going on for you here in Delaware.
While I'm trying to still get the program out there, I had the opportunity to work in a couple of schools in Delaware. Uh, uh, um, Great Oaks Charter School, uh, a couple of others, alternative schools where I was able to get my program out there. But it's tough because again, the the resources are limited, the will or the capacity to have a program like mine to come in and do what I do. If I could just get some the resources that I need to get in these schools, to get in these other programs, and just lend a hand. I don't need accolades. I don't need you to pat me on the or to feel like that I'm coming to take over. I'm here to help. So if there is a program out there that's looking for some resources, because there are a lot of programs out here in the Delaware area, and everybody don't do certain things. All I want to do is help enhance what you're doing and be a part. I don't have to take over the reins. I can be a part. I could be a team player, and we can work together to change these lives of these young people. That's what it's about. It's not about me. It's about what we can do together to impact the lives of our young people. So to
Mm-hmm.
be able to have people have the understanding that I'm not coming to take over, I'm coming to be a part. I'm coming to help. I'm coming to lend a resource that you may not have in your program, and it may be able to enhance what you're doing, and we can work together. Because the pie is big enough for everybody to have a slice. Everybody should be
Mm-hmm.
able to get a slice. I don't want it all. I don't want half of it. Just give me a slice. And I'll be satisfied that I can impact a young person's life to help them do some things in their lives.
Absolutely. I just think that it's um, intentional that programs like yours, and then it's not just your program, programs like yours, and men like you, okay, who, have something to contribute to the whole community, are continually dismissed,
Right.
and stuck to the side. To me, folks should be running to you, Ron. Okay, there should be rims around the world. Okay,
Right.
hey, we see that
I
rim
would
around.
love that. Right. Right.
So,
Absolutely.
as citizens, okay, what is it that we can do to really help elevate programs like yours?
It just give us a chance. Give programs like this a chance. Do your research. Find out what programs are out there. Find out what it is that you can do to enhance certain situations in certain communities. Everybody don't have the answers. I don't have all the answers, but I can contribute to the solution. I could be a part of a solution and not part of a problem. It's
Mhm.
not the problem that we have that's negating us from being successful. It's developing solutions. Everybody got questions. Nobody have answers. But you don't have all the answers, so that means bringing in someone else that might be able to give you a little bit push to, and a little bit of encouragement because of what I bring to the table. Because what I may bring to the table may put your program over the top. It may put what you're trying to accomplish over the top. So give us a chance. There's a lot of positive programs out here, but you need to be able to give us a chance. You spend money on things that don't matter. You spend money because the people at the top got to make five, six, $700,000 a year. Why? You're helping to save a life. And I'm not saying I want to make $150,000, $200,000. I just, give me a piece of the pie that I can make a little bit and be compensated for the work that I do to help impact the life of a young person. Because you can't put a price on a young person's life. So why
You
not give the
cannot.
opportunity for programs like mine to help these young brothers learn, grow, and develop into successful, positive citizens themselves?
Hmm. It's so easy for those of us, those folks that are in leadership positions to easily sign off for our prison system.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And to support incarceration and to support privatization and
Right.
really to put resource and let's get more parole officers.
Right.
How about doing something in the front?
Right. Let's keep our young brothers out of the prison system. Why does private prisons have to be the forefront of where our young people wind up, and you're putting all these resources into the prison system? We already know what that's about, but we need to put
Mm-hmm.
resources into programs, into positive programs that's going to help develop these young brothers into becoming responsible people. It doesn't take a lot to do that, because you're spending
Mm-hmm.
taxpayer dollars for those
No,
private institutions. Why not spend some of those taxpayer dollars to help develop the minds of these young black men so that they become successful in life?
I agree. I absolutely agree. I am again blown away at how sensitive we have to understanding how we really do impact being able to be part of the solution.
Right.
I applaud you for the solution. I applaud you for, developing young minds, understanding about, to life skills, conflict resolution. I mean, that's you can look at how our government is run, and they could probably use a little piece of conflict
Absolutely. They
resolution.
need some mediation for sure. You know, to be able
Okay,
to sit at a
um,
table and come to a compromise about how we can, make the communities better in which we live. It's not about Republican, it's not about Democrat. I understand that both parties have their own ideological ideas about the way things should be. But are you impacting the community? Are you impacting lives? That's what the solution should be, is how we impact lives.
mhm, absolutely. I'm going to say this from the moment we spoke, and I think I got your package first before we actually sat down and spoke. I was my heart was touched because I'm convinced that there isn't a school in the United States of America and the world that should not have this program in some form or fashion,
Right.
okay, for their young people. You
Do that.
know,
It makes you
so
beg the
how do
question.
you keep up the momentum?
Um,
How do you keep
I,
up the momentum to keep coming?
that's that competitive nature in me. I guess that's the athlete in me, and I can't stop. I won't stop because someone took the time to help
Mm,
me become the man that I am. And it is my responsibility to give that back. I'll never forget my grandmother saying to me years ago that it doesn't matter what you do in life. If you don't do anything to give that back to impact somebody else's life, then what you've done is null and void. And I've never forgotten that. And I will continue to keep pushing, to keep striving, to keep working, to do whatever it takes to be able to help young black boys become successful. Now, also, let's not get it twisted, because there are some other young people out there that need guidance as well, and they're welcome as well. But the unfortunate thing and sad thing to say is that many of our young black boys are the ones that need the attention. So that's what my focus is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so much of that is as a result of the issues that we have in our community.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
you know, we're the hardest hit
Mm-hmm.
in terms of health disparities,
Mm-hmm.
economic development, and opportunities. All
Mm-hmm.
right. All that rolls down to our children,
Right. Right. And it's
you
our
know?
responsibility.
Um,
We have to try to help them combat those issues. We know that those issues are there. You know, you know, that changes when the responsibility level of our leaders, our community leaders, and I'm not talking about on the
mhm,
federal level. I'm talking about city council. I'm
yeah.
talking about our mayor. I'm talking about our assembly people, the people that has a direct impact in our communities. That changes when they change their mindset about what the community is supposed to be about. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, my responsibility is to help those young brothers combat those issues that they deal with on a daily basis in their community and show them how to get through those situations so that they can have a more productive life for themselves.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head in that, I mean, we can just look in the city of Wilmington at the dysfunction that is, all you have to do is watch a tape, okay, or video or whatever of what's going on in city council with regard to getting issues resolved. And it is, it's just disrespect. And what do we expect if we're acting like this to hold a different standard,
Right.
for our young people?
Absolutely. 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 We are put
We're
in a
not
position
setting
to.
the example, Ron. Yes. So give us some closing words of wisdom, or share with us from your heart, what you would like the audience to hear from you.
Um, First of all, let's get out and vote. That's first and foremost. Most if you need to get out and vote, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but you see what's going on out here. So get out and vote. Um, I always tell people all the time that federal voting is great, but the ones that have the direct impact on your community, those are the people you need to focus on. Those are the people you need to hold accountable in your community to make things better. So your mayors, your city council, assembly people, community leaders, community organizers, those are the people that you need to have a direct contact with and understand what their role and responsibilities are in your community and focus on that level. But of course, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying just disregard federal level, but understand where where you have a direct you know I guess you can directly call someone that because you're not going to be able to call the White House and speak to the president
Mm-hmm.
about something that's going on. But you should be able to call your local city council member and let them know exactly what's going on in the community so that they can help that. Also,
Right.
I would also implore people to make sure that, again, this, like you mentioned earlier, the census, so that we can get those dollars in our community, and hopefully the people that are in office will take those dollars and do the right things with them, and also do your part. You have a responsibility as an adult to do your part to be an impact on the life of a young person. Don't be afraid to be have an impact on the life of a young person. Um, Trust me, they hear you. It may seem like they're not listening. They may seem like they are being disrespectful or what have you. You're going to get that because they're disrespectful towards me at times. But I'm patient enough to understand what they're dealing with. And over time, they get it. They see I care genuinely.
Yes.
Now I've earned their trust. And now they come and talk to me about any and everything. So if you can impact the life of a young person, get into mentorship and just take one child
That's it.
and change their life. And that one impact that you can have on one child could begin to become trickling down and be a domino effect, and you'll begin to help others. So do your part. It's particularly in our Black communities. Just do your part.
I love it. I love it. Ron Moore, thank you so very, very much for joining me today. We're going to have you back, okay? Because I've got ideas brewing here
I'm sure you do.
in the back of my
head. I'm sure you do.
You know, I just so believe that it is our responsibility, you know, to make that difference any way that we can. And I hold you in very high regard because
Thank you.
Advice, okay?
Thank you.
Because you don't have to do this.
Right. But I'm glad that you asked me. I'm glad that I had this opportunity to speak to your audience and let them know what revitalizing, inner city Males to Men is about. They can go to my website as you have it scrolling down there on the bottom. You can go to the website and get any information that you need about the program, and give me a call, shoot me an email. Let's see how we can work together to change the lives of our young people.
Absolutely, absolutely. I look forward to us continuing to work together. Don't go away, Ron. You know something? I'm just going to keep you right there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is important. We talked about it, okay? On this coming Thursday, September the 10th, I am going to be a moderator on a virtual online forum called a Conversation with the City of Wilmington Leadership. Imagine that. Wow. And it's going to be on Facebook Live. I'm really happy to be able to partner with Erica Gutierrez and her organization, Community Champions Delaware. So I'm going to be posting that information, but save the time. You will have that opportunity to ask your questions to the leadership, okay, in the city of Wilmington. And there'll be a few more of those and beyond, because we need to raise our voice. All right. And, shift where our dollars go.
Right.
In order to make that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me on Talks with Tanya. This is Tanya Bain with Tanya Inspires. I just want to leave you with this. Stop waiting. You are the one you are waiting for. You are the change you are waiting for. Ultimately, you are the one. So I asked you to step up, pull that lever or push that button or send your mail in, make things happen. Thank you very much for joining me on Talks with Tanya. I will be back again next week. My podcast drops on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Talks with Tanya, the podcast. And also I'll be back on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. with another great guest. Thank you so very much, my audience, for joining me. I appreciate you. And Ron, thanks so very much again. Take care, everyone, and stay inspired.
Take care.
All right.